Just joking. Hey, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Icky Timey here, Tuesday Tea Time. I want to thank you for coming on with us. We are going to have an awesome time together this hour with our girl, Jessica. I found out how to say her last name, but I'm going to say Schoech right now because that's what I've been saying, and I want to say shame on me. Before we get rocking, I want to throw out some love to Pono Ono Art right here, doing some great things, man. This is a unashamed advertisement for his stuff. He hooked us up, and I want you to know, if you're looking for some really cool gear to rock, check out Pono Ono Art. He's doing some awesome things. Now, in the next few weeks, we're going to be doing some great stuff. We're going to be talking with a few graduates who had to go through the COVID-19 graduation style. We want to see how that went for them. We're going to talk about what their anxieties are for the next year. How are they going to get to college if they are? We're going to be talking to one of the directors in the local LA area who's doing some great things with community organizing and working with local residents, families, standing for some of our justice issues around. We're going to be talking to Hispanic young adult pastors, talking about their challenges and their hopes for their congregations, how to move them forward, to talk about reconciliation, racial equality, how they're doing in growing and loving their families through all of this process. Now, before those weeks come along, I've got the wonderful privilege of hanging out with this lady, Jessica. I'm not going to say her last name correctly because I want to be corrected when time comes. Jessica Schoech, the queen bee of vegan street fair. Some of you may know vegan street fair because as Adventists, you go to it every year. Something like 60,000 attendees show up to this thing. You get some awesome and amazing food from all of the vegan vendors there. You get a great show. There are people performing. There's all kinds of cool stuff. But we're going to get to talk that all out with Jessica here in a few seconds. So without further delay, let's get going. I am about to bring on my friend Jessica. Jessica, how are you doing?
Hello, I'm doing great. How are you, Iki?
I am excellent, my girl. And you are right now in my picture way too small. So I'm gonna make you fit, okay? I'm gonna put you in here. Let's go. There we go. Looking good. How's everything going?
Everything's going. Everything's going.
It's whether you want it to or not.
Yeah, like one day at a time, this wild roller coaster that we're all living in together. And, you know, it's fine. It's all fine.
Yeah, is it? Is it? Phenomenal. Jessica, thank you so much for joining us. I really look forward to our time together, girl. Let's get started here. As I do with all of my peoples who come on here, I want to ask you, what are you drinking today?
Okay, so it's funny because usually I just am drinking water, but today I decided to do a little lemonade.
Okay, a little lemonade, okay.
Yeah, I should have tea with me, but I don't, so I'm ashamed.
Now, you should be ashamed. Shame yourself. You told me off the air that you are actually quite a tea drinker, connoisseur, if you will. You're not representing tea right now, so I want you to tell us, what are your top 2 favorite teas and why?
So right now, my favorite teas are genmaicha, which is a green tea with toasted rice. It has a little toasty taste to it. I love green teas in general because they're full of antioxidants and all kinds of great things for your body. And then my second favorite tea right now is Earl Grey. So it's specifically a lavender Earl Grey that I get from Tea Pop, which is just yummy and delicious, and that's a black tea. So it really just depends on what type of mood I'm in. If I need a little jolt, okay, I'm gonna go for the black tea. If I need just a little calmer, buzz, so to speak, I'm gonna do the green tea.
Oh, speak about that buzz, girl. Speak about that buzz. So my guy Kevin Kamado is on, and he says, "Welcome, Jessica. Looking forward to hearing from you and your awesome work." And we've got a few others who's just excited to come on here. They're saying, "Hey, what's up? Matcha and Earl Grey, girl after my own heart." That's what Jillian says.
So good.
I'm drinking some. This is like dragon fruit mango passion from Starbucks. I'm not sponsoring or advertising for them. They don't sponsor us, but this stuff is good. It's really good. So get some if you can. Drop some lemonade.
I've had that. I don't think I've had it yet.
You should try it. It's good. It's good. Okay, Jess. So your last name And first of all, I owe you the big apology. I wanted to wait till we went online so I could apologize to the world, the World Wide Web, for what I've done. Last week, I believe I said Veronica. I don't know what I was thinking, Jessica. I'm so sorry. I'm glad you didn't see it. I'm so thankful you didn't see it. First of all. Second of all, when we made this video, I sent it out to our guy Pono to put out, and I said Jessica Schoech, and I gave it my best shot. Being somebody whose name is Icky, I know the pain of people getting it wrong. It's Icky. Jessica, how do you say your last name?
So it's pronounced Shay, but I will give you credit. I will give you credit for trying, because most people don't even try. They just skip it altogether. So you get points for that, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh man, thank you. Toya G says Jessica's a Puerto Rican princess. Huge fan of hers. She's a huge fan of yours. Boricua in the house, man. Okay. Oh, that makes sense. Actually, that makes sense, because we're gonna talk about where you're actually from, and how you came about being on the Best Coast. All right, Jessica, where does now that is your married name, not your maiden name. So where does that name come from?
I believe it's German, but my maiden name was Garcia, so it went from Garcia to Shay, but not Shay, because no one's ever gonna get that right. It's a definite switch for me in my life. No one ever got Garcia wrong, so that's been quite interesting for the past 12 years.
Garcia, that's super Hispanic, girl. You're right in there. You're right in the mix. So you're Puerto Rican, is that right?
Correct. From the Bronx. Shocker.
From the Bronx. Yo, okay, so you're not a local SoCaler, even though you are leading something that is so deeply Southern Californian. It's vegan street fair. You couldn't get more Cali than that, right? Tell us your story. You're from the Bronx. Were you born there? And then how did you migrate out towards us?
Yeah, so I was born in Virginia. My dad was in the Navy, and we moved to the Bronx, where the rest of my family was, when I was only a couple months old. So I was basically bred, if you will, in the Bronx for 26 years of my life. And then in 2008, it's a funny story, I actually was on a reality show.
Is that okay? Hold up. Which reality show were you on, in case somebody wants to look you up, girl?
A little show called American Gladiators.
That's awesome.
Yes. So
that was the reboot, wasn't it?
The reboot.
Yes.
The second and final season of all of them. So I tried out for the show. I was a personal trainer at the time. I tried out. I made it. I came out to LA. I fell in love with LA. I actually met my now husband on that show.
Yeah. Really? Was he one of the gladiators? No, he wasn't.
He was a producer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what brought me out here, because at the time, I could personal train anywhere that I wanted. And this was all the way back in 2008. So I just packed up my stuff and we drove cross country, and I've been here ever since.
Wow. Okay. So that's nice. So technically, you're still a baby Californian, right? 13. Is that 13 years? 12 years? All right. Okay. Yeah. How and why did you get into this vegan movement? That's a big question in and of its own.
Yeah. So on our second wedding anniversary, we went to SeaWorld, which is so embarrassing to say now, considering my position on life. Well, because, it's SeaWorld. Yeah. It's just like the worst of the worst to a vegan,
Yeah. Truth.
So we went, and I had this vision that I wanted to swim with the dolphins. So we swam with the dolphins. We took pictures. It was a whole thing. When I got home, I posted about it on Facebook, and a friend of mine who's not even vegan at all, he was like, I don't know if you know this, but those animals don't want to be there. And I was like, that's true. SeaWorld does great things. I mean, I was really drinking the Kool-Aid at the time. And so I spent the whole day trying to prove this man wrong. And I searched and searched online, trying to find all the great things that SeaWorld did. And instead, I discovered all of the awful things that happened to all of these animals in these marine parks. And I was in full tears. Like, I can't even explain to you how traumatic it was to watch. And from that moment, I decided that I never wanted another animal to suffer for my enjoyment ever again. And that includes, food, entertainment, clothing, cosmetics, the whole gamut.
Wow,
And
that is a powerful conviction. Wow.
yeah, so that was all the way in 2010.
Yeah.
2010? Yeah, 2010. Oh, sorry, 2011. And so at that time, I went back home to New York to finish my degree at NYU.
Hmm.
And it was my first time being back home. And it looked like a new city to me because I had never known it as a vegan. I only knew it
Right.
as a non-vegan. So I was really excited to explore it and explore all the vegan things that it had. And in the process of doing this, I started developing an app to like find vegan things. But 3 years later, the app disappeared. But
Ooh.
yeah, it sounds like there should be more in there, but it's not
Yeah.
necessary to the story.
All right.
So the app disappeared, but what was really beautiful about it is another door opened, as they say. And so the idea for Vegan Street Fair really came out of this concept that I could live in LA for 10 years and never eat at every single vegan place. Dad's here. Can you close the door for me, sweetie?
Exactly.
Can you close the door?
That's my life you're living, my girl. Don't worry about it.
And so anyway, another door opened and it was like, I could live here for 10 years and never try all these vegan places. So why don't I just create an event where they all come to me? Right? Or it was kind of how this idea started.
Yeah.
But also what I really was looking for was, okay, can you close the door, sweet boy?
Ladies and gentlemen, Jessica's children.
This is my life. Like
Oh,
my
man.
children has been on every meeting you could imagine.
Girl, if they ran in there butt naked right now and jumped on you, I wouldn't blink an eye. That happens in my house all the time.
Real life right there.
Mm.
So I really wanted to create something that was in the New York style because I
Nice.
didn't see that here just yet. I didn't see, in New York, you go to a street fair because it pops up out of nowhere and you're like, this wasn't here yesterday.
Right.
But you get to, you get to enjoy the culture and the food and the music and the vibe and the people. And you're a part of that culture because it's typically a cultural event, a street fair, right?
Right.
And you don't have to be Italian to enjoy San Gennaro Festival in Little Italy, but you go because of these great feelings that you get afterwards. So I wanted to do the exact same thing for veganism. And that's really how Vegan Street Fair was born.
Wow. That's major, girl. That's major. Because it's not like yeah, like 12 or 13 of us get together and, we have some vegan stuff. It's not even like, yeah, a whole block of people came. It's like a whole city comes out to this.
Yes.
How does one make something so niche? Because to be honest, veganism is quite niche. How does one make something so niche become so viral?
So I think for me, my main goal with Vegan Street Fair was always to reach non-vegans. My goal is not to make vegans more vegan, right? I don't need to be more vegan. I'm vegan. I'm good.
Yeah.
But my goal really is to reach people that have misconceptions about what veganism truly is, right? So a lot of times what people think veganism is, it looks one way. It looks one color. It looks one gender maybe. It looks maybe, like it's all tofu and salads. But
Right.
it's not. I mean, there is such a huge variety of fruits and vegetables in this world that we don't even tap into when we're not eating just plants. I mean, think about it. When you're, when I was eating animals at the time, what am I eating? Like 5 different animals, and that's all I ate.
Right.
And different flavors. And now I'm eating like thousands of fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, grains. And you don't really think about, like, what can people do with plants? So I think the answer to your question is, I really just wanted to make veganism exciting and not, scary, because so often you see vegans throwing pain on people and you think
Right.
that that's what vegans are, that we're not angry. Some of us are, but I'm not. And
Right.
so I think really it was just kind of a way to like embrace everyone and say, hey, you may not be vegan. We're cool with that. Like, just come and have a good time. And maybe if you leave here eating good things,
Right.
feeling good things, meeting great people, then maybe you'll be like, veganism is kind of cool. Maybe I want to be vegan.
Yeah, vegans. You know what you are? Do you know what you are, Jessica? You're what I would call a vegan evangelist. That's what you are. You evangelize people to come into veganism. Like you're like, look, we don't need to be more vegan. We're already vegan. Let's present it in such a way that it's tasty for the rest of the world to say, I'd be vegan too. Man, you're a winner. You are the you version of me doing what I'd be doing here in this place. That's phenomenal.
Thank you.
I want non-vegans to enjoy this and see how wonderful life is when you're this. I don't want vegans to be more vegan. They're already vegan. Hey, just a side note for you Christians, man. You don't need to be more Christian. You're already Christian, all right? Just be kind, good, loving to people. Make your space healthy and good and non-toxic so others would say, I'd be a part of that. That's something good right there. That's just a little spiel out to my peoples because Jessica set me on fire here a second ago. Sorry. Let me wind it back, Jessica. Sorry. Back into veganism, because this is a fantastic story that you tell. And you're very right. Lauren Laxon, she said, yes, vegan street fair is awesome. So there are people out there who's just super enjoying what you've put on. And you've created such a balance in that space, Jess, that is just so heartwarming. Now, how did you... were there practical things you did to create this viral movement, this viral fair? It's just so everybody knows about it. You've got 176,000 followers on Instagram. You got that little blue ribbon. People, you get that blue ribbon when you get to a certain place. My boy said to me, ask her what that blue ribbon's all about. When do you get one of those, right? Tell us all.
It was hard fought, man. They don't give those out very easily. I think,
right?
You have to know someone or be with an agency, which none of those things apply to me.
Yeah.
So I just kept sending them, my trademark and my website. And I think after like the fourth time, finally Instagram was like, okay, fine, you're a blue check. So they verified me, and they verified me, I think it was last year on New Year's. So it was very exciting. It was a great time for me to feel like, wow, okay, we have arrived, people.
And was it pretty straightforward for you deciding to become a vegan, being convicted of that, and growing this huge event, street fair out? Or was this something that did it hit immediately, or did it take a few iterations? And how much work did you have to put into that?
Did it take a few iterations? Yeah. So Vegan Street Fair, when it first started in 2015, if anyone who is watching right now remembers, go ahead and say the word, because I know you know what I'm about to talk about. The very first Vegan Street Fair was a massive success, to the point where it was a little too successful. Like there were too many people on the street and not enough street to hold them. So we had about 10,000 people on 2 streets in North Hollywood. That was the very vegan street. We were like, what is happening here? But the funniest part of that was it started to rain, which was fine. We dealt with the rain, no problem. But then it started to hail. So I had lived in LA at that point for like 6 years, 7 years or something like that. I'd never seen hail in LA, ever. I couldn't believe the one day that this event was happening was hailing on all of us. I mean, it was a show. But at that time, we had tried the idea that we wanted to do food tickets, which is what the Taste of Chicago does in Chicago every year. Taste of Chicago is this massive event that's been going on for 30 plus years, and they have food tickets, and that's how they monetize on, the entire event, which is huge. So we were like, let's try that. If it works for them, it could work for us. However, it did not work for us. So that was iteration number 1. Iteration number 2 was we tried it again, but like with a bigger audience and a bigger, like way more ticket sellers. Didn't work again. That same year, we tried a night version, but a smaller version, because people were like, I don't want to be out in the street with thousands of people. I'd rather pay for a smaller version. And we were like, okay, because my whole thing with street fair is I just want it to be free. I want everyone to access it. I don't want to put a barrier on this. Like, why? So we tried a night version, and that's been really fabulous and lovely. And fast forward, now we have a weekly market, or had a weekly market that we do every Sunday. Did every Sunday in Hollywood. It's like hard to catch up with actually happening in the world. So every Sunday in North Hollywood, we had Vegan Exchange. So it went from this annual event to twice a year, like a big version, a small version, and now it's weekly. So that's called Vegan Exchange, and it's slightly different. It's a little bit smaller. It's not as massive, but it is something that everyone comes to because it's something to do on a Sunday.
Yeah, yeah. It actually gives you a sense of community in the urban space. You're around other people. It's nice to be, well, pre-COVID, it was nice to be, in connection with other human beings. So,
Yes.
such a good space. And the honest truth is, there are people who love huge, massive events, and then there are people that just love intimate spaces where they can, not be around thousands of people. So,
Facts.
so then, have you always considered yourself an entrepreneur? Is that where we were? Did you do anything that had to do with the fair before this? This was something, because it sounded like this was something you had just boom, you were going to go with this thing, which means you probably leaned more into the intuition of an entrepreneur more than anything, right? So is that do you consider yourself that, and had you always been that way?
I consider myself an entrepreneur now. I don't think I considered myself that prior to this. I think
Mm-hmm.
that I more so considered myself a connector.
Yeah.
Like ever since I was little, like a planner. I would plan the pizza party for the seventh grade class, and I would plan. I used to do video production for my high school, and I would put together productions and make sure that all the teachers and all the classrooms were set up at specific times and make sure the crew came in at their, like I was one of those people that like to organize things. But more so than that, I was always the person in my friend group to organize, meetups and hangouts and parties and get-togethers and gatherings. And so oddly, Vegan Street Fair kind of melded all of those things together for me.
Ah,
And I don't think that I ever knew that I had an entrepreneurial brain because, I was a bartender prior to
yeah.
being a personal trainer, and then I was a personal trainer. So I was always working for someone else. I never envisioned like I'd have my own bar or I'd have my own gym.
Yeah.
But with this, it was I could see nothing else but running my own event.
Ooh,
So
girl,
maybe
look at you.
I just didn't know.
And now you're the queen bee, doing the thing, doing the thing. Chief Executive Officer is your actual official title, and I like it. I like it a lot. Okay, my guy Kevin Kamato has a question. He said, "What is your ideal situation? A huge number of people or small, intimate event?"
For me,
Mm-hmm.
it depends on my mood. I like all of it, to be honest. I love the big ones because I tend to find that I can reach more people with large scale events. And when there are lots of people, then to me that means it's more people thinking about veganism.
Mm-hmm.
So I look at it that way. Uh, and I love the rush of organizing, and I love the rush of planning things and being there and watching it all. I like to say that I like to set up the dominoes and then watch them all fall. Uh, it's just like the weirdest thing, but I love it. So with smaller events, there's still so much work to it, but it's almost like the same amount of work for a small event as a big event, and it doesn't have the same effect
Mm-hmm.
necessarily for me. But they're both great, and it really just depends on my mood. Like I can enjoy a smaller event as a person,
Right.
don't necessarily enjoy, like I don't get to enjoy the fruits of my labor at a large scale event. I don't even eat the food there, which is really sad.
You wait. You don't eat the food there?
No, because I'm busy.
Yeah, true, true. Yeah, I can understand that. I can understand that. Jillian has a question for you. My girl Jillian asks, "How have you adapted to the current public health crisis?" I know we were going to ask that a little bit. You know what, Jillian? That's a great question. We'll go ahead and answer it now. I was going to ask you earlier, but the good diet is very relevant, but it's rough times for event planning.
Listen, all of them planners know that we're the last on the list to reopen when the world rights itself.
Right.
So it's been a struggle trying to find a segue into the world again, knowing that we thrive and are basically putting all of our time and energy into live in-person events, and we don't have that.
Yeah.
So right now, what I've adjusted to for the time being is we do have an online program through Patreon, which has been really beautifully fun. We have vegan chefs and and influencers and just vegan, I mean, activists and masters. They're masters.
Right.
And they go live with us just like we're doing now, and they teach us a skill or they teach us a recipe or we just ask them questions. And it's been the only way for me that I have found to be able to still give people that sense of connection with the vegan community without it being in person. So that's been my shift for now, but it pales in comparison, to what I would normally be doing. I just have to deal with it because I don't have a choice.
So true, so true. Difficult times, and we're constantly learning to adjust. Just from the perspective of those of us who work in church, Jess, we've had the same thing. It's closed down for us, and one of the struggles that many people in church have been dealing with is, how do we open up? And then, there are those of us who speak the voice of, well, the church was never meant to just stay inside a building anyway. So, we've got to learn how to, it's about adjusting through life. Life is going to throw you a bunch of curveballs, and that's probably the best, most adventurous part of life is learning how to deal with those things. Doesn't feel so great at the moment.
Right. It makes you better at your craft because
yes, absolutely.
As hard as this has been, because it has been, it also has given me a different perspective on making sure that people from around the world also have access to vegan street fair. Because the truth is, when our event is happening, people are there from every corner of the globe. It is beautiful to see. I mean, we have a map out there and people put their little stickers on and we say, where did you come from? And every single country is represented. It is magic. But, there are people who can't make it here. Or there are people who can afford to make it. And they can't fly in and they can't, what have you. So now this platform that we've cultivated allows us to reach people around the world, and it's something I can actually keep. I didn't realize how much people everywhere wanted access to street fair and didn't have it. So now I have something new to offer everyone, and it's not simply in-person events. It's just an added benefit to this wacky world we're living in. I mean, something nice came out of it, I guess.
Yeah. No, I mean, it is amazing. You're very right. It needs to be more accessible to a larger population. But when you don't have to worry about that because what you're doing locally is so good, you don't learn how to stretch past that. And now people who want access to it is getting it. And that's fantastic. And absolutely true. It's magical because people from all over the place come to enjoy this. So if you are just catching on with us right now on Tuesday Tea Time, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm with Jessica Shea. We the queen of Vegan Street Fair. And we are talking about all things vegan and life and love and justice. If you have a question, I want to invite you, go ahead and pop it in a comment. If we can have an opportunity, I'll shoot it to her. She has been a great sport answering as we roll. So feel free to pop a question or a comment and we'll field it out for you. If you are looking for that Patreon, if you happen to be one of those people who love it like Toya was earlier, hey, what's up, Gamal? Good to see you on here. Go to @Vegan Street Fair, and that is on the Instagram. You'll find the Patreon there. Is that correct, Jess? You'll find it there?
You got it.
All right, phenomenal. Hey, Jessica, let's play a game. You want to play a game with me?
Ooh, yes.
All right. Okay, let's go. So I call this little game, Jessica, this little game is called Love One, Leave One. And if you watch along with me during the week, you'll know what happens here, okay? So let me just give you the info, the 411 on how this goes, and then we'll rock. Basically, I give you an option between two things. You get a minute and a half. I'm going to give you two things. You have to choose which one you love, which one you leave. And whichever one you love stays in this universe, and you can use it consistently for the rest of your life and enjoy it. The thing you don't choose leaves existence forever, and all of humanity pays the price for you not wanting that thing. So no one can ever use it again. All right? Are you ready?
No, I don't think I am. Why does it feel real?
Yeah, dude. Listen, the pressure, the heat is on, sister. You better get ready for it. And of course, as usual, those of you watching along, jumping in, type in your comments, type in your option as we go. And if I have a quick enough finger, I'll put them up as Jessica begins to answer the questions. And you've got a minute and a half, Jess. So now I'm going to just adjust one quick thing, and then we'll get rolling. All right, here we go. Adjust. Okay, adjustments are made. All right. Here we go. The pressure, right? Natalie, right? The pressure. That's exactly correct. Okay, get ready to type. I've got the list up here. And Jess, if you are ready, let me know.
I'm ready.
Oh, by the way,
Yes, go ahead.
To make it easier, you can just say love ... and we'll know that that means you meant to leave the other thing. Or if you say leave ... that means you want to keep the other thing. Okay, so you don't have to say love this, leave that. You can just say one or the other.
Got it. And you're asking me several things, right?
So I'm gonna give you two options, and there's a list of them. All right,
Okay.
Justin Napod says the vegan street fair is amazing, and yes, Justin, you're right, it is, and so is Jessica. Let's get rocking. Ready,
Okay.
Jess? Okay, here we go.
Okay.
All right, Oreo cookies or Nutter Butter?
Nutter butter love.
Ooh. Okay, sports shoes or sandals?
Sports shoes.
Oh, nice. Marvel or DC characters?
Marvel.
Wakanda or Zamunda?
Wakanda.
All right. The Rock or Will Smith?
Oh, The Rock.
Okay. Beyond Patty or Impossible Patty?
Oh, I'm an impossible person.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yes.
okay. Oat milk or almond milk?
Oat milk.
Ooh, that was easy. Okay. Tahiti or Caribbean?
Caribbean.
Ha! Nice. New York or LA?
Come on now, New York.
You said you loved LA. You lied to us. How dare you? We're going to talk about this after the time's up. Okay. Fruits or veggies?
Fruit.
Oh, okay. Wine country or urban penthouse?
Oh, urban penthouse.
Woo. Okay. Urban gardens or wildlife lush?
Oh, urban gardens.
Breakfast or lunch?
Oh, breakfast.
Guacamole or vegan cheese?
Oh, guacamole.
Beach chair or ski lift?
Ski lift.
Nikes or Adidas?
Oh man, Nike.
Wonder Woman or Supergirl?
What? Supergirl.
All right, my friend, you just made it.
That is gnarly. Because as you're asking me these questions, I'm thinking to myself, but we will have to never see the other one again, and everyone will pay the price for it.
Dude,
it's a lot. It's a lot to deal with.
I know. So you chose the
Okay.
last one you chose was it Supergirl or did you choose Wonder Woman?
Supergirl, but I must admit, I don't know either one. Really. I'm a
Ah,
Marvel person.
got it. Right. So you never saw Wonder Woman?
No, to this day.
Jessica. I found a flaw in your character.
She's got flaws.
Yeah. she's a real human being. Okay, all right. Now you said I've got to go back to this because you said it. You said New York City. How dare you? Can we talk about this for a quick second before we move on?
Of course.
You said you came to LA, fell in love, met the love of your life, went to SeaWorld, became a vegan, and started the vegan street fair. And then, when the pressure came to it, you chose New York. You chose the Knicks over the Lakers. Can you explain yourself, please? I need to know what's happening here.
I grew up there. There's no way I'm ever going to choose LA as much as I like it here, as much as my life is built here. I'm a New York through and through. It's hard to not be like Yankees all day. And, Manhattan and the Statue of Liberty. And it's just, there's something beautiful about New York that is unparalleled. Doesn't make LA terrible, but I prefer New York.
I'm not mad at you. New York is amazing. It's a beautiful place to be.
Right.
But it's super hot in the summer, and people die of the cold in the winter.
Wait, I live in Santa Clarita, and it is hot here. So
okay, truth. You're right. I mean, but yeah, that's true. If you live in Santa Clarita, yeah, New York wins every time.
yeah, I did it to myself.
My guy, Gamal Alexander says, yeah, I'm with you, Jessica, native New Yorker right here. This man, Gamal, how dare you? You and I are going to meet up later, and we're going to fight in a parking lot. You and I will. Or maybe we'll have donuts, whatever. But we're going to do something together. Oh, man. Now the truth is coming out. All these L.A. people living around here, claiming here. Okay. I see you guys. No, no, deep love for New York. Deep love. Okay, let's keep cruising, my girl.
Yes.
What are some misconceptions about being vegan? By the way, I have to be open and confess, I'm a vegetarian. I've been one since I was like 13. And when people see my wife and I together, my wife, she's a Filipino, and she's like, a small little frame human being. She's like half my size. People always think she's the vegetarian and I'm the meat eater. So when we go out to restaurants, and and they bring who had the steak, she'll be like, I had the steak. I'd be like, I
Right.
had the salad. And it confuses folk all the time. But I'm a vegetarian, and I love being that. But vegan is like, that's like the next step, man. That's like the pros. Like, you don't play around when you're vegan. So there's a lot of misconceptions about being that. Can you help us through some of these?
Yeah, I think for me, one of the biggest ones that I'm constantly battling, you know, if you will,
Yeah.
is the idea that veganism is a diet.
Mm,
Um, because so often, again, these are what you see on social media and who you
right.
see as influencers, as vegan influencers. It's people who are promoting veganism for diet. And veganism isn't a diet. Veganism is about justice for animals at the
Mm,
end of the day, period. You can be a healthy vegan, of course, but veganism does not mean you're counting your calories, you're watching what you eat, because it's really just about how it affects animals, and how it
mm,
negatively, or veganism positively impacts animals. But that's what it's about. It's not about me as a
mm.
person. You can still be whole food, plant based, but they're not the same. One is dietary choice, and one is
An ethical lifestyle.
correct.
Which is it's a much broader umbrella, and any time we serve something much greater than our own selfish or self-preservation, it's much deeper rooted, right?
Correct.
And so
Correct.
well, that's beautiful. Okay, that's one misconception about it. What's another misconception about being vegan that many people have?
I think another misconception, and maybe it falls along the same lines, is that vegans look a certain way. On the one hand, you know what I mean? It's like I try to
Yes.
explain to people that any body can be a compassionate body, right?
Ooh, okay.
We're not all gonna look the same.
That's a great
We're
word.
not all, because and this might be tied in, but it's like you're gonna need all these nutrients. You're
Hmm.
going to die of protein deficiency.
Right. Oh, that's a big one. That's a big one. People always say
You're
that.
all the time. It's we joke about it in the vegan community, but it's like the second you tell someone that you're vegan, they become a nutritionist, and you're like, where did this degree come from that I never knew existed in your world? Um, but so that's a really interesting one to me, because they either expect you to be stick thin
Yeah.
and unhealthy looking and malnourished, or
Discolored.
discolor. I mean, there's so many things, and all of the vegans that I know are the most beautiful humans I've ever seen. And I was a personal trainer, okay? So back when I was doing that, I had a different perspective, and it's sad to think about it now, but I had a different perspective of beauty. And
Right.
and and obviously now that I see the world very differently, I realize that it exudes from vegans. Like,
Mm.
for the most part, it comes from their pores. Like, you meet a vegan and you're like, whoa, that's amazing.
Mm.
I didn't expect that, right? So that's another misconception. Like, you expect vegans to look a certain way, but we can look anyway. We
Mm.
look every way. We are able-bodied, we're disabled, we are young, we are old, we are everything in between. And that's why I love veganism, because anybody can be vegan. You don't have to look a certain way, eat a certain way, do a certain thing. You just have to have care for animals. That's it. It's
Wow.
that's it.
I'm gonna go ahead and pour her cup of wisdom out onto a larger platform and just say, people, you are beautiful. You don't have to wear a certain skin or certain color or certain size to finally feel validated and qualified to be human. To be human is to be beautiful. Embrace yourself, accept yourself, and love yourself. These are lessons from Jessica Shea, Queen Bee of Vegan Street Fair, here in our time together. Love yourself well. Take a moment and just tell yourself you're beautiful. Dang it, Icky, you are beautiful. Yes, I am.
Yes, you are.
Yes, you are, Jessica. Yes, you are. Love yourself, my friends. Love yourself well. It is a beautiful thing to be human completely and fully. If somebody out there wanted to become a vegan, let's do two different ones. Okay, so let's talk about that your eating habit, and then let's talk about the lifestyle of the ethical vegan. Let's separate those two, and let's do three quick, easy steps for each. If you want, if what's some advice you can give somebody who's saying, I want to start eating the plant-based diet? What are three easy steps they can take, Jess, that would help them move in that direction?
Yeah, so step one, start to replace the things that you currently have in your home. This may be the same answer for both, but
Mm-hmm.
specifically for plant-based, or like a whole food plant-based eater, start to replace things in your diet that, well, it's hard because this is a big shift, right?
Yeah.
You're making two leaps at once because you're not going to eat animals or their excretions, but you're also going to eat healthier. So there's some leaps there.
Yeah.
So start to replace things like, instead of chicken, replace it with tofu or beans. Really just understand the dietary restrictions and also the dietary needs of a human. There are websites all over the place for this
Yeah.
kind of stuff. I highly recommend Forks Over Knives.
Oh, that's a good one.
Oh yeah, Forks Over Knives is fabulous because they really push a plant-based lifestyle. So
Mm-hmm.
they're not going to be talking about going to get an Impossible Burger. They're going to be
Right.
talking about making whole foods at home, which is lovely. Do that. So that's step one. Step two, get a cookbook. Get a great cookbook because so often when we start to go vegan, we don't know what the heck we're doing.
Right.
When we start plants, period, we're like, I don't like plants. I have no idea what I'm doing.
Do I cook this fern? No, this not.
I've got all this grass in the front yard. What do I do with
Get the clippings.
it? So get yourself a good book that talks about whole food plant-based eating. So there are tons of them. I don't have any because that's not why I do it, but I do know Engine 2 is somewhere to look at. I did follow Brendan Brazier for a really long
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
He's great. So any major like vegan athletes for the most part are doing whole food plant-based. So follow them. That's maybe my third tip is follow people on Instagram
Yes.
that are following a whole food plant-based diet, and that will allow you to sort of step into their world a little bit and learn how to structure your day and your shopping cart with things that are going to be a little bit more healthy for you and in turn the animals, but we won't tell them that.
Girl, that's how I found my way to you. I started following different vegan. One of my really close friends, he was my associate for a long time. He became a vegan. He and his wife, they're plant based, and so he follows people on Instagram. And I wasn't using Instagram yet, so he's like, "You got to follow this person. And here's Vegan Street Fair. They're amazing. You got to." So I just started following it, and you know what? The posts are beautiful, and like watching the food, you're like, oh, I could do this. I could do this. I really could do this. So that's a great tip. Okay, so what about if someone is trying to take an ethical lifestyle shift where they want to be more conscious about animal lives and lives in general? What are three easy steps they can begin to take to make that shift in their life?
So the other three steps still apply to you. I think you could still utilize them. Just get different cookbooks if you're not
Right.
really interested in doing like no sugar, no salt, no oil. Like get cookbooks with all the sugar, all the oil, all the salt, if that's what you so choose. That's what I have in my house. But also, don't go bananas.
Mm,
You need
good.
to take baby steps to get there.
Yes.
Do that. Some people like me, I just did it overnight. It was a quick shift. It
Wow.
was also, yeah, but it was also because I had kind of played with pescatarian. I was pescatarian for about 2 years,
Yeah.
and then my best friend was vegan, and so I tried it and I failed and I gave it up. So I kind of maybe had some background in it that when it was finally when it was finally time for me to do it, it was a quick shift. But that's not everyone. A lot of the time people set out to do this overnight, and you have to sort of give yourself some grace because you're going to screw up. You're going
Yes.
to on accident eat some cheese. You're going to on accident order the wrong thing. You may, like me, I did this when I went vegan. I went back home to the Bronx after like 8 months of being full vegan, and I had this desire to eat the very last cheese pizza of my life from
Yes.
my favorite vegan pizza restaurant in the Bronx, right? New York Pizza. It's a thing. So I made the conscious decision. I did this consciously, right? And I'm going to tell you why I'm glad I did it. I made this conscious decision to like have this last piece of cheese pizza and I was done. Um, and it was fine in the moment, but I was so sick after.
Oh, snap.
And it was instant karma, like instant karma. And there it is, right? There it is. Like, that is my body telling me that this is not right for me. And I'm glad that I had that experience because I knew that if I did that again, that I would end up in the same situation. It just further solidified for me why I do what I do,
Nice.
because that momentary lapse of like, I have to have this wasn't worth it.
Mm.
Um, but I bring that up to say, give yourself some grace. Don't beat yourself up. Take it slow if you need to. Go at your own pace. Surround yourself with people who understand you and are going to support you and not make fun of you or peer pressure you. Make sure people know that this is what you're doing and that they're kind to you. And finally, just be kind to yourself, because you're going to go through lots of changes and it's not going to be easy right away. It's not going to be a walk in the park. You're going to be learning lots of things, and not even learning, I'd say you're unlearning. You're
Mm.
unlearning all these habits. Like your favorite shampoo is probably tested on animals.
Right.
Okay, now you have to research. You got to research. So be kind to yourself in the process of being kind towards animals.
Ooh, so good. So good. That's a word right there. If you are just coming in right now, we are with Jessica Shea, and we are talking about life, veganism, and truth. Be kind to yourself. There's another hashtag right there. Be kind to yourself as you're being kind to animals, as you're being kind to others. Fantastic, fantastic. Okay, let's talk about justice a little bit, shall we? I
Yeah.
love this topic so much. Um, I have followed your posts for quite some time, and in these trying times of injustice, of inequality, of brokenness, one of the things that I'm leery about, and I never hold my voice back when it comes to justice and inequality and discrimination, but one of the things that I'm leery about is when individuals go on to public spaces to spew toxicity,
Mm.
whether it's for or against a certain issue, but have no real steps to help bring about justice, reconciliation, equality. And one of the things that I've loved about your page is that you've used your platform to speak up against inequality and injustice, to speak up for love and for goodness to people. So, why did you have the desire and drive to speak up against injustices? And what are some ways that you have seek to do it in such a healthy way by giving people opportunities that need it?
Yeah, so my platform for the most part has really just been about veganism forever,
Hmm.
which in and of itself is a social justice movement, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're advocating on behalf of animals, that's a social justice movement. But in my personal life, that is what I do every single day. I fight for basically the rights of everyone, as many people as humanly possible, because I just feel that that is my highest truth. Um,
Absolutely.
and I don't feel that it is my job to support or be someone who is keeping someone from being their authentic selves and being treated as equals. So when things started to go south in the social media, not south, this is an interesting thing to say. When the world started to see injustice in the ways that people like me had already been seeing it,
Hmm.
because we're all home, we were all glued to our screens and our phones and our TVs, and we couldn't get away from George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery and Breonna Taylor and all these people.
Absolutely.
It made me realize that I can't stay silent on this platform anymore. I have too many people following me to not do something with it. It's useless to build something so beautiful and to not take the opportunity to teach someone something.
Mm.
Uh, and so I just decided that I would make sure that my platform was consistently talking about injustice, not just for animals, towards animals, but towards everyone. And so, I already had been doing that work on the sidelines. And some of the things that people don't really know is that, some people do, but in my everyday life with street fair, I am purposefully giving opportunities to people that don't normally get them. I am purposefully making sure that my events are full of people that need it the most, from single moms to black and brown and all the kind of beautiful humans that deserve to be seen in the vegan movement.
Yes,
That's what I
yes.
was doing. I was already doing that. And even as simple as the hands that you see on my feed holding food
Mm.
are black and brown hands.
Mm.
And and it's things that people don't really realize because they're not it's like a default, right? The
Yeah.
default is one color and one thing, but I know for me, when I walk in a room, I scan the room right away. Probably maybe for you too. I scan the room. It's just a second nature kind of reaction to things. And so I created Vegan Street Fair really to be a very, very inclusive place. And so the Instagram had to reflect that, especially given the state of the world. It has
Mm-hmm.
to reflect every single thing that we embody and every single thing that I do on the back end, and to make sure that equity is reached in as many places as possible with this platform. So yeah.
That is so beautiful. Thank you for inspiring us. Um, Everyone watching, I'll be honest. I wish that we as a church were better at that. As Christians, I wish we all were better at that. Sometimes, unfortunately, it's the church that becomes the most segregated place. But when done right, um, Christians, people do such beautiful things when we're at our best, and we do such destructive things when we're at our worst. So people like you who are leading the charge, who are creating spaces for equality and for beauty, where individuals from all kinds of classes and genders and races and orientations all the way across are finding a place of inclusivity and hope and love is so important. It's imperative to our world. It makes us all better. And I'm a person who believes that God gleams truth not just to a particular group of human beings or to one set of believers, but he gleams truth onto the globe, onto various places, to various people, to those who are willing to accept that. So thank you for that. That was beautiful. Jessica, beautiful.
Thank you.
I'm hiring you. You're hired.
Hired. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
I don't have a job for you or me yet, but when I do, you're hired. Um, so let me ask a couple more questions. We're coming short on our dude. Our hour blew by. Thank you so much
What
for joining us,
happened?
Jess.
Of
Really
course.
really appreciate this. How do you balance all the work and the kids and your family and being married? There's somebody out there right now who's struggling through this, i.e., me, but somebody else maybe as well. How do you do it? Kevin, by the way, just said you can take my job. You can have. You know what, Kevin? You're fired. How do you handle it?
I don't even know if I have an answer for this because it is a day-to-day question.
Hmm.
You wake up every day and you hope that what you are setting out to do is going to lay itself out for you perfectly. But that's not reality, right? Like COVID
Right.
really took it took us all by surprise. But Vegan Street Fair was very impacted by it. Vegan Exchange was very impacted by it. And so in my everyday life, without COVID, it's making sure that for me personally, I have to be on a schedule. I know for me, that's how I operate the
Hmm.
best. Because if I don't operate that way, then I'm all out of whack and nothing makes sense. And I'm spending way too much time doing something when something else needs attention. So I
Yeah.
need I'm getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning and I'm going to the gym and I'm getting back and I'm showering and then I'm making breakfast for the kids and I take them to school. I come back, I work till 3 and I go back and pick the kids up. And it's just like this well-oiled machine. And for me, that's what works the best. I don't know how it works for everyone, but I know for me, if I'm not on a rigorous schedule, the whole day's out of whack. So the balance for me, I think, really is just in knowing yourself enough to know what it is that you need to make sure that from moment to moment and day to day, you are achieving your goals and making sure that the people in your life, i.e. my children, my husband, like everyone is taken care of as best as they can be.
Yeah.
Without losing sight of the major goal, which is happiness,
That is some parenting and professional advice for those of you watching along. If you need a little bit more, mine is to just slowly die inside. That's what I do every day. Just slowly and ever surely die inside.
I feel like we've all been doing that for the past 5 months.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. I got a couple more questions as we round out our hour together, Jess. Number one, what would you, in your wise experience, tell your 10-year younger self? If you could talk to yourself 10 years ago, what advice would you give her?
Ooh, don't beat yourself up.
Ooh.
Don't beat yourself up. You're not going to get it right all the time. Yeah, I think that's just it. When I first went vegan, I was so like, I needed to get it right. And when I didn't, I would cry and I would be like, I'm terrible. Don't beat yourself up. You're never, I think what I've learned now that I could teach myself, is you don't lose ever. Like if we're looking at wins and losses, you never lose. And I learned this from my friend, Vegan Fat Kid, Tim, who's another.
I love him.
He's so great.
My goodness, Vegan Fat Kid. Hey, by the way, if you haven't followed him, at Vegan Fat Kid, isn't that what it is?
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
Too good.
Tim's
what did you
great.
learn from him?
Tim is like one of my favorite people on the planet, and he's always full of great tidbits and little quips and things that really help you keep things into perspective. But he taught me this. He said, there's no wins, or there are never any losses. There's only lessons. So when you think you've lost something, when you think something is tragic and something is terrible, there is something in there that you've been able to learn from it that now allows you to keep moving forward. You've never lost. You don't ever lose. And I'm like, oh my, that's so good.
That's good.
You don't lose, and it's all about perspective. It's like you can beat yourself up about something that maybe you thought you screwed up or you messed up or whatever, but you've learned something, like good, bad, or indifferent. You've learned something from whatever it is that you feel has knocked you off of your game. You can take that and flip it around and be like, got it, figured it out, gonna be better next time,
Boom. I'm gonna copyright that so that it becomes mine. That's so good. That's a word. Douglas Harry asked, is this the street fair in Hollywood?
Yes.
That's what he asked. And is it every Sunday, he asked? But that's prior. That was.
So he's talking about Vegan Exchange, which is our weekly event. Vegan Street Fair is annual, and it happens every March. That annual Vegan Street Fair is 60,000 people, 200 vendors over 2 days. It's over 1 mile worth of streets. It is ridiculous.
Yeah, it is, and it's awesome. It's an awesome event.
It's so fun. And then Vegan Exchange is like 30 vendors, one street, every Sunday, maybe 2,000 people. So that's the difference between the two. If you're looking,
maybe 2,000 people. I used to pastor a church, Jessica. There was like 2 people, so I get it. I know what it's like to have like a packed out space. Okay. Quick question for you: in March, if COVID finds its way out, exits show by the new year in March, are you guys gonna rock?
Yes, that is the goal. We may need to truncate the planning process because it takes us a full year to plan. But yes, the plan is for March 2021 to be back up and running fully, which from what we understand, events are not coming back until at least 2021. So.
Now I want to be the marshal for this. How do I become the marshal? I need to wear the sash, and I can become vegan by then. I swear I can. Jess, you gotta give me a shot, man. Nobody else is gonna give me a shot. So
step one, I need to add a parade so you can.
Yeah. Add the parade.
And
so
we'll talk.
Yeah. When's the next vegan event? If March works out, is that the next major event?
No, so we're hoping to bring back Vegan Exchange sooner than Street Fair because Street Fair is so massive. That is likely going to take longer. But I do think that if we can stave off the virus and we can get to a place where small events come back and small congregations are able to meet, I do believe we can bring back Exchange at any given moment, given the circumstances. So we don't know when that's going to be. I mean, we're coming up on September here soon. So that may end up being December or January. We're not sure. But follow us on social media and you'll know.
Hey, if you want to stay up with what's happening and catch up on the tea, you got to be at Vegan Street Fair on Instagram. You'll know what's happening. You can also jump on the Patreon there. And if you need to, go over to their website, which is veganstreetfair.com. veganstreetfair.com. You can follow Jessica and all the great work they are doing. They're doing some phenomenal things, not just for veganism, but for justice, for equality, and for a better world. So I want you to keep following them if you haven't had a chance to. And if you don't forget, I'm rocking Pono Ono art. He's doing rock. You can find his gear too. I'll rock your gear if you send it. Maybe, I don't know. If it's bad, I probably won't. And in the next few weeks, we're going to be having a few different individuals come in here talking about some awesome things. So you're going to want to stay tuned with us. Thank you so much for spending your hour with Jessica Shea and myself as we talked about veganism, justice, life, love, and the world around us. Jess, do you have any final words for us before we shake up out of here?
I just want to thank everybody for being here, and thank you so much, Iggy, for inviting me and having me. And if anybody out there is thinking about going vegan, there's so many resources out there. Follow me, ask me questions. I'm so good on DM. I am so happy to assist you. There are people out there who will help you. Don't shy away. If it's something that intimidates you, trust me, there are people out there that are willing to help, and just enjoy it. Enjoy it. Have a great Tuesday. I don't even know what day it was. And thank you for having me.
No, Jess, I have to say you're fully right. You are so good. I hit you up and I said, hey, I'd love for you to come on and talk to us. I'm part of the Adventist church in Southern California, and there are a bunch of vegetarians and vegans, and they love this kind of stuff. And you were like, let's go. And I was like, what? And let me tell you, DM this girl. She's on it. She's fire, and she's willing to come out and talk with you and catch up with you wherever you find yourself. Thank you so much, Jess. I really appreciated our time together. You rock the house. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Peace and love.